I want to show you guys something. I took a video of myself the other day solving a Rubik's Cube because that's one of the little hidden talents that I have. I'm not fast at it. I don't do it competitively, but I do it from time to time. It's actually sitting right next to me here. And I was making this video and I was thinking to myself, how do you make something like this interesting? Because it's not the least interesting thing in the world, but a lot of people could use help making their videos or other content more interesting. And one of the best ways to do that is going to be through pattern interrupts. As you can see, if I just use one angle of me solving a Rubik's Cube and I'm not fast at it or I'm not like superhuman about it, it's not really that interesting and you don't want to sit there for a minute to a minute and a half watching it. So I need to add some pattern interrupts. I need to add something to break up the monotony. So what I decided to do is I decided to record this video from different angles and then put those angles together and switch between angles like you see in actual TV shows or maybe other YouTube channels or stuff like that, or anybody that knows how to edit a video. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do that in Premiere Pro. So if you have multiple cameras, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4, it can be 16. Set them all up, record your video, make sure all of them are recording audio. That's going to be important. And then this is going to be how you create something less boring in Adobe Premiere Pro. So the first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is open up a Premiere Pro project and import your footage. So you can see right here, I've got a folder with these 3 angles of the Rubik's Cube in here. You got a top down, you've got a straight on right in front of me, and then you've got another one off to the side that we're going to look at. And I'm just going to be working with those 3. Let me actually grab them here and pull them into Premiere. All right. So what I'm going to do from here is the first thing I usually do is I'll grab one of them and I'll move them onto the timeline. And the reason that I do that is because I want the sequence of the entire project to be set to certain settings. So I'll pick the video that I want. Now in this case, all 3 videos have the same settings, but say if one of them was a different frame rate or something was different about it and I wanted that to match the final video, I'd pull that one onto the timeline. But for right now, I'm just going to pull this guy on here, get everything set in stone. It makes it an actual project, and I'm just going to delete this. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select all 3 of these. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to create a multi-camera source sequence. That'll bring up this dialog box here, so there's a few things that you really want to pay attention to on here. First is the name. I usually just leave it as multicam, but if you want to name it something, that's where you do that. You don't really need to worry about any of these bubbles because for the sake of this, we're going to use the audio in order to synchronize. What that means is that Premiere Pro is basically going to analyze the audio of all of these clips and find a match. It's going to match them all together, or at least it should. And then this, I will usually have track channels set to 1. Now, sometimes that doesn't work and you get a little error message, and then I'll change it to mix down. So for this one, I already tried it. It wasn't working on 1. It was working on mix down. And so play around with that if you have to. You're not going to ruin anything by changing that back and forth. You're not going to worry about really any of this. That's automatic. That's automatic. This guy right here, you're going to leave his camera 1 99 times out of 100, but let me explain it real quick. So this is your audio box, and this is talking about where the audio is going to be coming from. So if you select camera 1, it's going to take whatever the first camera is, and it's going to make that your audio for the entire video. If you select all cameras, it's going to take the audio from all of the cameras, layer it on top of each other, and you're going to get this choir of camera audio coming at you. And then switch audio is going to switch to the audio of the camera that you're currently viewing it in. So if I had like a camera over here right now, and I was doing a couple of cameras from this, and I had switch audio selected, when you were looking at me from this camera, you would also be hearing me from this camera, but then when you were looking at me from that camera, you'd also be hearing me from that camera. That's basically the way that that works. So I'm going to leave this as camera 1. I do that all the time for everything, for podcasts, the whole 9 yards. And then the rest of this you don't really need to worry about. You're going to click OK. It's going to process some stuff, and then you are going to have a multi-camera source sequence. It's going to throw all of your files into a bin of processed clips, which could come in handy later on down the line. That'll be more advanced stuff that we can worry about later. And you're going to have a sequence that looks like this. It's got this icon right here, and it's going to be titled Multicam. And then what you're going to do is you're going to drag that onto the timeline. Now, right now, this doesn't look very special other than the fact that these bars right here are green, so you're like, what gives? Well, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find this little guy right here called Toggle Multi-Camera View. If this is not already on your toolbar, you want to click the little plus sign over here, and you'll be able to find it on here and then drag it onto your toolbar if you want to keep it around if you're going to be multicam editing a lot. But once we toggle this, you'll see it brings up this box over here, and then once all the cameras are actually on, it's going to show you all of the angles that you have. So you can see I have 3 angles here, and these are going to be cameras 1, 2, and 3. So what I would do normally, there's a couple of ways you can do this, is that you can just play through it and click on the camera that you want to be showing at a given point in time. So let me just play through this real quick. I can switch to that camera. I can switch to that camera. I can switch to this camera, etc., etc., etc. Now, the other way that you can do that, if you don't want to sit there and click the whole time, is you can use the 1, 2, and 3 keys on the keypad. I think in most cases, I don't have a numpad on my keyboard. I have a MacBook Pro. They don't have that, so I'm using the top row anyway. I think you have to use the top row. I don't remember for sure, because it's been a long time since I've used a numpad. But either way, when I'm editing a podcast or editing anything like that that is using multicam, I will just rest the fingers of my left hand on the 1, 2, and 3 keys, and I'll be able to switch back and forth that way. So I'll sit here like this, I'll be watching, I'll be like, I want to switch to camera 3. Bam, press the 3. I want to switch to camera 2, camera 2. Okay, I want to give someone a panic attack, I just start pressing all 3 of them really randomly. And then as you do that, it's going to make cuts down here in the timeline. You can see that seizure that I just gave it right there. And it's going to switch back and forth between all of the cameras for you. So if I were to pull this back here and play it, you've got that madness going on. And that's how you do it. I mean, that's really all that there is to this multi-camera editing. This can be used for so many reasons. This can be used if you have a screen record and a video of yourself and you don't want to sit there layering stuff on top of one another. That's what this is for. That's exactly what this is for. So if you have any questions about it, I'm sure I left something out. You can comment them down below. I will get back to them. I may or may not have a great answer for you, but I'll get back to them. And if you haven't done so already, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Please smash the like button. You guys have been on YouTube before. You know there's an algorithm. You know that all this stuff kind of happens. If there's anything else I can do to be of service to you, send it my way. And I'll be back soon in another video.